Steps of Hope. Ethan, a boy of only 7 years old, was sitting on a busy sidewalk, holding a worn piece of cardboard with a message written in his small, dirty hands. His big blue eyes watched the hurried faces passing by, each caught up in their own concerns, rarely stopping to notice the boy who was asking for help to survive. But Ethan had a noble reason for being there. A few weeks earlier, a tragic car accident had completely changed his family's life. His mother, Olivia, lost the use of her legs. The accident, caused by the recklessness of his father, Richard, not only resulted in Olivia's disability but also in the dissolution of their marriage. Unable to deal with the guilt and responsibility, Richard abandoned Olivia, leaving her alone to care for Ethan. The image of his father leaving the house was still fresh in the boy's mind, his cold words echoing in his thoughts, "I didn't marry a cripple." Those words drove Ethan to take on the responsibility of caring for his mother. Ethan knew that surgery could restore Olivia's mobility, but the cost was exorbitant, and they had no resources. Determined, Ethan decided to ask for money on the busy streets of the city. He created a simple but moving sign that said, "Help my mom walk again." The writing was childish, with crooked and hesitant letters, but the message was clear. Every coin that dropped into his tin brought Ethan a mix of hope and gratitude. The days were long and tiring, and Ethan saw the kindness in some people who left coins or bills. He recognized the kind faces and the quick steps of those who preferred to ignore him. His routine started early. He helped his mother get ready in the morning, preparing a simple breakfast and making sure she was comfortable before leaving. Olivia, despite her situation, always tried to encourage Ethan with a smile and kind words, saying that things would get better one day. The small house they lived in was full of memories of better times. Family photos on the walls showed a smiling, active, and happy Olivia. The drastic change in their lives was a heavy burden for everyone, but Ethan felt an enormous responsibility on his small shoulders. During the weeks following the accident, Ethan learned to be resilient. He developed a routine on the streets, carefully choosing the places where he would ask for help. His mother's hopeful look was the force that kept him going, even when fatigue and hunger seemed unbearable. Each day ended with Ethan returning home with what he had collected. Olivia welcomed him with a warm hug, thanking him for his efforts. They counted the coins together, dreaming of the day when they would have enough for the surgery. Even amid so many difficulties, Ethan never lost hope. He believed that, with time, everything would get better. And so, day after day, he continued his journey, determined to do everything he could to help his mother walk again. Ethan's days on the streets were a mix of exhaustion and hope. His routine began early, and he knew that every coin he collected was one step closer to helping his mother. On one of those mornings, while he was sitting with his cardboard sign, an 18-year-old girl named Emily walked by. Emily worked at a nearby bakery, and that day, her heart was touched by the image of the little boy begging with such a noble purpose. Emily observed Ethan for a few days, noticing his determination and the gentle way he approached people. He never begged or pressured, just waited patiently for someone to approach. Determined to do something more meaningful, Emily approached Ethan on a sunny morning. "Hi, my name is Emily. What's your name?" she asked, with a gentle smile. Ethan looked at her, surprised by the friendly approach. "I'm Ethan," he replied shyly. Emily crouched down to be at Ethan's eye level. "I've seen you here every day. Why are you asking for money?" she asked, already knowing the answer but wanting to hear it from Ethan's own mouth. Ethan took a deep breath and replied, "My mom, Olivia, had a car accident a few weeks ago. She can't walk and needs expensive surgery. I'm trying to help raise money for that." Emily's eyes filled with tears as she heard Ethan's story. Feeling an immediate connection with the boy, she decided she needed to do more. "Ethan, I work at a bakery nearby. Maybe we can find a way to help you more than just with a few coins. Would you like to come with me there?" Emily asked. Ethan nodded, not really knowing what to expect. He followed Emily to the bakery, a cozy place with a sweet smell of freshly baked bread and cakes. As he entered, Ethan was amazed by the variety of sweets and the cozy atmosphere. Emily led Ethan to a corner table and offered him a piece of chocolate cake and a soda. Ethan, hungry, accepted gratefully and began to eat. While he ate, Emily took the opportunity to talk to her boss, Sarah, on the phone. She stepped aside to give Ethan some privacy and explained the situation in detail. "Sarah, I found a boy on the street who's raising money for his mother's surgery. He's so young and doing it all on his own. I thought we could help him somehow." On the other end of the line, Sarah listened attentively. She had always been a generous and empathetic person. "Emily, that's touching. How can we help?" "I was thinking we could give him some sweets to sell. He can keep all the money he raises," Emily suggested. Sarah reflected for a moment and, in a firm tone, replied, "Yes, of course. Let's do it. Bring him here, and we'll organize everything." Emily hung up the phone and returned to the table where Ethan was finishing his food. "Ethan, I talked to my boss, Sarah. She's very generous and always willing to help. I told her about you and your mom, and she agreed to let you sell some of our sweets. You can keep all the money you raise. What do you think?" Emily explained. Ethan was surprised by the generous offer. He had never thought of selling sweets, but the idea seemed promising. "I'd love to, Emily. Thank you so much," Ethan said, feeling a new surge of hope. Emily and Ethan spent the afternoon preparing everything. They made a new sign together, more colorful and attractive, that said, "Buy sweets to help my mom walk again." Emily taught Ethan about the different types of sweets and how to present them to customers. The next morning, Ethan was back on the streets, but this time with a box of sweets and his new sign. People approached, curious and moved by the story the sign told. Sales started to pick up quickly, and Ethan felt that he was finally making real progress. At the end of the first day, Ethan returned home with the box nearly empty and his heart full of joy. He told his mother about Emily's generosity and the opportunity to sell sweets. Olivia cried with joy as she heard the story. She couldn't believe that strangers were willing to help so much. Emily's support was a sign that there was still kindness in the world. In the days that followed, Ethan continued to sell the sweets with enthusiasm. Emily visited him frequently, bringing more sweets and encouraging him to keep going. Sarah, always busy with the bakery, made sure to ask about sales and Olivia's health through Emily. Ethan and Olivia's lives began to change for the better. With the money from the sales, they were one step closer to getting the necessary surgery. And more importantly, Ethan had found unexpected allies who were willing to fight alongside him. The future seemed a little brighter, and Ethan felt that, with Emily and Sarah's help, he could achieve the impossible and help his mother walk again. The sun was high in the sky, bathing the busy city street with its bright light. Ethan was at his usual spot, selling sweets with a new sign that Emily had helped him make. The traffic was steady, and he was beginning to recognize some familiar faces. Every sweet sold was another step toward the much-dreamed-of surgery for his mother, Olivia. On that particular day, Ethan was focused on his sales when suddenly something caught his attention. A tall, elegant woman with brown hair similar to his mother's walked past him and entered the bakery where Emily worked. Ethan blinked a few times, incredulous. The woman was identical to his mother, Olivia. Feeling his heart race, Ethan decided to follow the woman. He grabbed his box of sweets and walked to the bakery, trying not to lose sight of the woman. Upon entering the store, the sweet and welcoming aroma of bread and cakes enveloped him, but he was focused on something else, finding the woman who had just entered. The woman was sitting on a bench near the counter, talking to one of the attendants. Ethan approached cautiously, his eyes fixed on her. The resemblance was truly impressive. The same brown hair, the same face shape, and even the same birthmark on her neck. "Mom," he called, his voice hesitant and full of hope. The woman quickly turned around, surprised by the boy's voice. Her eyes met Ethan's, full of confusion. "My name is Grace. I own this bakery. You must be Ethan, right?" she said, recognizing him from the descriptions Emily had given. Ethan stood still, not knowing what to say. Emily, who was nearby, also turned to see what was happening and was surprised to see Ethan inside. "This is Ethan, the boy who's raising money to help his mom," Emily confirmed, approaching. Grace looked more closely at Ethan, still impacted by the coincidence. "You must have mistaken me, kid. There are many people in the world who look alike. But now that we've met, I'd like to get to know you better and hear more about your story," Grace said, trying to ease the tension in the air. Ethan, still shocked by the resemblance, spoke softly. "You look so much like my mom. The hair, the face, and even the mark on your neck," he said, pointing to Grace's birthmark. Grace felt even more intrigued. The resemblance was truly remarkable. She crouched down to be at Ethan's level. "You know, Ethan, sometimes fate does strange things. Why don't you tell me more about your mom?" Grace suggested, trying to better understand the situation. Ethan pulled a small photo of his mother from his pocket, the same one he always carried for luck. He showed it to Grace, who was speechless when she saw the image. It was like looking in a mirror. "My God, it's like I'm looking at myself," Grace murmured, incredulous. Emily, who was beside them, was also impressed by the resemblance. "I've never seen anything like this before. How is this possible?" Emily asked, looking from Ethan to Grace. Grace composed herself and, with a gentle smile, said to Ethan, "I'd really like to meet your mom, Ethan. Can we arrange a visit? Maybe we can find out more about this incredible coincidence." Ethan, still a bit stunned, nodded. He felt a mix of emotions: confusion, hope, and curiosity. Perhaps this new connection could bring something good for him and his mother. In the following days, Grace and Emily planned a visit to Ethan's home. Everyone was eager to learn more about this surprising resemblance and what it might mean for Olivia and Ethan's future. Ethan's anxiety grew as he waited for Grace's visit. He had told his mother about the unexpected encounter with a woman who looked so much like her. Olivia, intrigued and a little nervous, agreed to receive Grace at their home. On the morning of the scheduled visit, Grace arrived in a discreet car. Ethan, who was waiting at the gate, ran to greet her. He led Grace to the simple yet cozy living room where Olivia anxiously awaited. When Grace entered the room and her eyes met Olivia's, time seemed to stand still. Both remained motionless, studying each other's facial details. It was as if they were looking into a mirror. "This is unbelievable," Olivia murmured, feeling a mix of emotions. "It really is," Grace responded, still processing the situation. Ethan watched closely, feeling a strange mix of pride and nervousness. He knew that this meeting could change everything. Grace sat next to Olivia, and the two began to talk. The physical resemblance was just the beginning. As they spoke about their lives, they discovered more coincidences and parallel stories that left them increasingly intrigued. "My father, Thomas, was a man known for his many adventures in his youth. I never knew all his relationships, but I always had the feeling that I might have more family out there," Grace explained. Olivia nodded, recalling the few pieces of information her mother had given her about her own father, a man also named Thomas, who was known as a charmer. "I never met my father. My mother always said he was a free spirit, impossible to pin down in one place. Maybe there's more here than just a coincidence, Olivia said, feeling a cautious hope forming. Grace, determined to discover the truth, suggested they take a DNA test to confirm their suspicions. Olivia, a little surprised by Grace's readiness, agreed. She knew it was the only way to solve the mystery hanging over them. "We can go right now. I know a reliable lab that can do the test quickly," Grace said, with a resolute look. Olivia agreed, and with Ethan's help, she prepared to leave. They got into Grace's car and headed to the lab. On the way, the tension was palpable, but there was also a sense of hope in the air. Arriving at the lab, Grace made the necessary arrangements, and the two women were taken to a collection room. The process was quick and efficient. As they waited for the samples to be collected, Olivia and Grace talked more about their childhoods and the few memories they had of their fathers. "I remember my mother saying that my father was always traveling. She said he had another family, but I never knew if it was true or just a way to justify his absences," Olivia shared. Grace nodded, sharing a similar story. "My mother always said my father was a free man. Maybe he really took that freedom to the extreme," Grace reflected. The samples were collected, and the two women were informed that the result would come in a few days. The anxiety would now be replaced by waiting. As they left the lab, Grace turned to Olivia. "No matter the result, I want to help you. Seeing this resemblance made me feel a special connection, and I believe fate brought us together for a reason," Grace said, with an encouraging smile. Olivia, moved, thanked her sincerely. "Regardless of what the result shows, I'm already grateful for everything you've done for us." "Ethan and I will never forget your generosity," Olivia responded, holding Grace's hand. Back at Olivia's house, they said goodbye with promises to keep in touch. Grace returned to the bakery with her heart full of emotions and thoughts about what the future would reveal. Ethan, by his mother's side, felt a wave of optimism. Grace's generosity and support had given him and his mother new hope, and he knew they were on the right path to a better future. The days following the DNA test were filled with a mix of anxiety and hope. Grace and Olivia felt the tension of waiting, but they also took the time to get to know each other better. The physical resemblance was just the tip of the iceberg of a connection that deepened with every conversation. Grace proved to be a caring and dedicated friend. Every day, she visited Olivia and Ethan, taking them on outings around the city. They visited parks where Ethan could play and forget, if only for a moment, the hardships they faced. Grace's presence was a welcome relief, a distraction from daily worries. During these outings, Olivia and Grace exchanged stories of their childhoods. Olivia spoke of the few memories she had of her mother and the absence of a father. Grace, in turn, talked about Thomas's constant travels and how she always felt something was missing in her life. "I always felt like I had a bigger family, but I never really knew for sure," Grace confided on one of those days. Olivia nodded, feeling an increasing affinity with Grace. "I felt that way too. My mother always spoke of a lost love, a man who couldn't stay, but she never gave many details," Olivia replied, looking at the park's horizon where they were. Although young, Ethan understood the importance of these moments. He watched the two women and felt a new hope blossoming. Grace's kindness not only helped them financially but also healed emotional wounds he hadn't even known were there. Grace didn't limit herself to conversations alone. She helped Olivia with household chores and always brought a gift for Ethan, a book, a toy, something that showed her care and attention. She also took Olivia to medical appointments, seeking new opinions on the treatment that could help her regain mobility. Day by day, the connection between Olivia and Grace grew stronger. The two women found solace and strength in each other, forging a relationship that, regardless of the DNA result, seemed destined to last. Finally, the day of the result approached. Anxiety returned, But this time it was accompanied by a sense of security. They knew that whatever the result, they had found something valuable, a friendship and a new hope for the future. The day for the delivery of the DNA test results finally arrived. Grace and Olivia were nervous and anxious, but also filled with hope. Olivia's small house was silent, except for the sound of the two women's racing hearts and little Ethan, who could sense the tension in the air. Grace arrived early that morning, bringing with her an envelope that could change their lives forever. She entered the house, being greeted by Olivia and Ethan with tense hugs and smiles. They all sat in the living room around a simple coffee table. Grace looked at Olivia, and the two shared a look of mutual understanding. "Are you ready?" Grace asked, holding the envelope with trembling hands. "Yes, let's open it," Olivia replied, with calm determination. Grace slowly opened the envelope, pulling out the paper with the results. Her eyes quickly scanned the lines of technical text, searching for the words that would confirm their suspicions. Finally, she found what she was looking for, and her eyes filled with tears. "Olivia, we're sisters," Grace said, her voice choked with emotion. Olivia let out a deep sigh, as if she had been holding her breath for years. Tears began to roll down her face as she looked at Grace with a mix of joy and disbelief. "We're sisters," Olivia repeated, almost whispering, as if she needed to hear the words out loud to believe them. Ethan, watching the scene, couldn't contain his own emotion. He ran to hug the two women, feeling immense happiness as he saw his mother and aunt, now officially sisters, come together in a tight embrace. "This is wonderful!" Ethan exclaimed, laughing and crying at the same time. Grace, still holding Olivia, looked at Ethan and then at her new sister. "Olivia, don't worry about anything anymore. I'm going to cover all your medical treatments. I want you to have the best recovery possible," Grace declared firmly. Olivia tried to protest, but Grace gently interrupted her. "You're my sister. We're in this together. I have the resources, and I want to use them to help you. We'll start with physiotherapy and all the other necessary treatments immediately," Grace insisted. Olivia, overwhelmed by her sister's generosity and determination, nodded, tears still streaming down her face. "Thank you, Grace. I don't know how to thank you. This means so much to me and Ethan," Olivia said, holding Grace's hands tightly. The following days were filled with a flurry of activities. Grace took care of all the details, organizing medical appointments, physiotherapy, and other necessary treatments for Olivia's recovery. The small house was transformed into a place of hope and renewal, with frequent visits from doctors and specialists. Ethan, now surrounded by the love and support of his mother and aunt, felt more confident and secure than ever. He watched his mother gain strength and prepare for the treatments, with Grace's tireless help. Although Olivia was still unable to take her first steps, hope was alive. She began physiotherapy, where healthcare professionals worked to strengthen her muscles and prepare her body for future progress. Every therapy session was a symbolic step toward recovery. Happiness and gratitude filled Olivia and Ethan's hearts as Grace dedicated herself to providing the best possible life for her newly discovered family. They were more than sisters now. They were partners in a journey of healing and hope, ready to face any challenge the future might bring. With Grace's support, Olivia began to see small signs of improvement in her condition. The joy of being surrounded by love and care was evident, and the determination to walk again someday filled her thoughts. The days following the discovery that Grace and Olivia were sisters were full of plans and changes. Grace, determined to help her new family, decided it was time to take a significant step. One sunny morning, Grace arrived at Olivia and Ethan's house with a proposal that would change their lives forever. "Olivia, Ethan, I've been thinking a lot about all of this. I want you to come live with me. My house is big and has plenty of space. You'll have all the comfort and resources you need for Olivia's recovery and Ethan's future, Grace said, with a welcoming smile. Olivia, surprised and moved, looked at Ethan before responding. Grace, that's very generous. I don't even know how to thank you. I don't want to be a burden to you, Olivia replied, still processing the offer. Olivia, you're my sister. We're family now, and families take care of each other. Besides, Ethan deserves the best opportunities. He can attend one of the best schools in the state if he lives with me, Grace insisted, holding Olivia's hands firmly. Ethan, his eyes shining with hope, looked at his mother. Mom, please, let's accept it. This could change our lives, he pleaded. Olivia, feeling the sincerity and determination of Grace and Ethan's enthusiasm, finally agreed. Okay, Grace. We'll accept your generous offer. Thank you for everything, Olivia said, tears of gratitude in her eyes. On the day of the move, Grace sent a car to pick up Olivia and Ethan. Upon arriving at the mansion, they were impressed by the size and beauty of the place. It was a large, elegant house with well-kept gardens and a welcoming atmosphere. Grace welcomed them with open arms and showed them around the house, pointing out the rooms that would now be theirs. Ethan was delighted with his new room, equipped with books, toys, and a wonderful view of the garden. Ethan, you'll start at your new school next week. I'm sure you'll love it and learn a lot there, Grace said, smiling as she saw the joy in her nephew's eyes. Meanwhile, Olivia began her physiotherapy sessions with the best professionals available, thanks to Grace's support. Each day brought new challenges, but also small progress that filled Olivia with hope. One quiet afternoon, as Olivia and Grace were sitting in the garden, Grace decided to reveal something important. Olivia, there's something I need to tell you. Emily, my employee at the bakery, is actually my daughter. I got pregnant very young and raised Emily on my own. I decided to keep her working with me because she always liked the bakery, and this way I can be close to her and support her, Grace revealed in a serious tone. Olivia was surprised by the revelation, but she also felt deep admiration for her sister. Grace, you're amazing. Raising a daughter on your own and building all of this. I can hardly believe it. Emily must be very proud of you, Olivia replied sincerely. Emily is my strength, and now you and Ethan are part of this family too. We're all in this together, Grace said, with an affectionate smile. The days at the mansion became happier and filled with hope. Ethan, adapting to his new school, was excelling and making new friends. Olivia, with Grace's constant support and dedication to physiotherapy, felt stronger every day. The weeks following the move to Grace's mansion were transformative for Olivia and Ethan. The welcoming environment and the constant presence of support made all the difference. Grace, always attentive, ensured that Olivia received the best possible treatment. One morning, during one of the regular appointments with the specialists Grace had hired, there was an unexpected revelation. Dr. Michael, a renowned physiotherapist, brought good news for Olivia. Olivia, after reviewing all your exams and following your progress in physiotherapy sessions, we have exciting news. Surgery will not be necessary for your recovery, Dr. Michael announced with an encouraging smile. Olivia and Grace, who were in the appointment, looked at him in surprise. Really, doctor? How is that possible? Olivia asked, her voice trembling with emotion. Yes, Olivia. Your condition can be reversed with intensive and continuous physiotherapy. Your body is responding well to the exercises, and with proper persistence, you will be able to walk again, Dr. Michael explained. Grace held Olivia's hand, her eyes shining with tears of joy. Olivia, this is wonderful. Let's continue with the physiotherapy. You're strong, and you'll make it, Grace said, full of hope. From that moment on, Olivia's dedication to physiotherapy intensified. With the guidance and support of Dr. Michael and his team, she underwent rigorous daily exercise sessions. Olivia's determination and willpower were palpable, and every small progress was celebrated as a great victory. Ethan, always by his mother's side, constantly encouraged her. He saw the renewed hope in her eyes and the determination to overcome this battle. Then, on a sunny spring day, something incredible happened. Olivia was in the mansion's physiotherapy room, supported by the physiotherapists and by Grace, who always made sure to be present at the most important sessions. Olivia was performing a strengthening exercise when she felt a different strength in her legs. "Come on, Olivia. You can do it. Just one more step," Dr. Michael encouraged, watching her every movement. Olivia, her heart racing, focused and put one foot in front of the other. With tremendous effort, she took one step, then another. The silence in the room was broken by applause and cries of joy. "I'm walking. I'm really walking," Olivia said, with tears streaming down her face as she took a few more steps, supported by the parallel bars. Grace ran to hug her sister, while Ethan, emotional, watched with a radiant smile. "Mom, you did it! I knew you would!" Ethan exclaimed, running to hug Olivia. The joy of seeing Olivia take her first steps was immense for everyone. The room was filled with laughter, tears of happiness, and words of encouragement. Olivia's journey was far from over, but that moment was a significant milestone in her recovery. Grace, holding Olivia tightly, whispered, "I'm so proud of you, sister. Let's keep going, one step at a time, until you can walk freely." Olivia, feeling the warmth and love of her family around her, responded, "With you by my side, I know I can overcome anything." "Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Ethan. I love you both." From that moment on, Olivia's recovery accelerated. Over time, she regained full mobility and began to regain her independence. Every achievement was celebrated enthusiastically by the family, which grew stronger each day. Meanwhile, Ethan excelled in school. He was a dedicated and determined student, always striving to learn and improve. His teachers were impressed by his dedication and intelligence. He got involved in various extracurricular activities, from sports to science clubs, and was a role model for his peers. Grace, always present and supportive, was proud to see the growth and success of her family. She had created a home full of love, where everyone felt safe and supported. The bakery continued to thrive, and Emily, her daughter, was increasingly involved in the business, demonstrating the talent and passion inherited from her mother. One day, gathered in the mansion's garden, Olivia, Grace, Ethan, and Emily reflected on the journey they had traveled. "We've been through so much, but now we're stronger and more united than ever," Olivia said, looking at her family with gratitude. "And this is just the beginning. We have a bright future ahead, full of possibilities," Grace added, smiling. Ethan, always optimistic, looked at the sky and said, "With you by my side, I know we can conquer anything. Let's keep working hard and supporting each other." Emily agreed, holding her mother's hand. "We're a family, and together we're invincible." The sun began to set, casting a golden light over the garden, symbolizing a new beginning for all of them. The mansion, which was once just a large house, was now a true home, full of love, hope, and dreams for the future.